What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today, MSTR. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. So here we are sitting at $364 to end the week. We got a lot to talk about, okay? A lot to talk about. We were dollars, moments, pennies away from assuring that this gap being filled was inevitable, right? And instead what we did was we found a nice area of support down here and had a very immaculate bounce. We moved up 11.56% from a previous closing period to this closing period, but from the overall low to the overall high, MSTR moved up 15% yesterday. So from where it opened to where it closed, basically 15% with very solid volume. That was the most volume we've seen in a while. That was above average volume as well. I forget who it was. I'm going to give you a shout out. Hold on real quick. Somebody was asking me to talk about the volume. Where is it? It was you, Mish 5K. You're asking about the volume indicator. I'm going to go over it at the end. It's not an indicator, but I will talk about it at the end for anybody who's curious to set up your volume the same way that I have it set up. I'll show you how to do it real quick. But besides that, let's get back into the point that you had above average volume, above average, right? You can see it's above the histogram here. It is above average volume. The most volume that we've seen since the 5th of December, right? And this was to the down effect. This is to the up effect. I very much do expect that we're going to continue moving up from here. MicroStrategy had a 1, 2, 3 correction, right? If you look at this tool here, we click, so right here, these are all your fib tools. These are all your line tools, whatever. If you click this, these are your Elliott wave patterns, stuff like that, right? You've got all kinds of, these are harmonic patterns here, stuff like that. And then here, this ABC, it says Elliott correction wave, ABC. So if it was a correction wave, correction means if you have a move up, you're in an upward sloping trend and you correct, you consolidate. Corrections tend to, but not always, tend to be three-legged moves. And if we take this here from the top, you go 1 down, 2 up, and then 3, and then that's your low. It was a 1, 2, 3-legged move, right? You had an impulsive move down, a sideways consolidation phase move for your move up, and then your third leg was a down move. If that doesn't make sense, if that doesn't register, don't worry about it, right? Don't get too caught up in it, but just understand that that's sometimes how things work. They move in these little waves, and that to me fits the bill for a low, right? We've absolutely found support here at this previous area of support. Right here on this little ledge before we ascended. And if we look at the 3-hour RSI, this was something that I was talking about on my x.com account. Literally, let's see. We go here. I think it's my most recent post. Yeah, this one literally. We're going to go over this same thing here right now. Stock is at a perfect price to buy. That was at 333 that I said that. So it went a little bit lower, obviously, but and that was before I made my call that I thought we'd go down. I'm not trying to be like, hey, look, I was calling for it to go up all along. No, after I posted this, when I made the video last night, I absolutely was calling for us to go down, and I was wrong. I'll be wrong at times, guys. I'm not going to be right all the time. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. You could be the best technical analyst in the world, and you're still going to be wrong. The best technical analysts in the world, they're not the best because they're right 100% of the time. They're the best because they have good risk management. They don't lose money, right? You can be right 9 out of 10 times and still lose money. You can be wrong 9 out of 10 times and still make money, right? The best analysts in the world, they can be wrong more often than they're right at times and still make money, right? Anybody can hit a hot streak, but I'm getting off on a whole point here. I'm just saying, yeah, I was calling for that. No, I'm not trying to pretend like I got it right. The whole reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to address what I was talking about here, is that on the 3-hour period, if we look at the RSI here, okay, we go back in time, you can see that this low here, this low here, this low here in the RSI, right? All very discernible lows. I think it's obviously these are lows, obviously these are lows, but the discernible lows, right? Obviously there's some lows thrown in here, but the discernible lows, the last 4 discernible lows that we've had, we draw them there on the 3-hour period, and now we equate them to the price, okay? Here we are. Here was your 3-hour low here. It was at this price down here, and then you moved up. You moved lower inevitably, but then you moved up. Here was your low here at this price, and then you moved up. You continue to move up until you found your low here on the 3-hour period on the RSI at this price, and then you moved up. And here we are now at the same, I would say, area in the RSI that we've continued to find support at, okay? And I think it's very obvious that we found our low. You guys, what's cool about this is we might be able to get an idea of here, of just based off of this, how much further we have to grow from this low point to the high point before we saw our next RSI dip would have been here, right? If that makes sense. Just roll with it if it doesn't. 134%. The next low to high, right before we saw another RSI dip low. Dip low. 145%. Pretty close. I love that. I was hoping we'd see something like that. Not only is it close in percentage value, but you can see it's getting stronger, right? This took a lot less time than this did here. I love it. I love it. 145%. So assuming that we find some support here and we move up, I think it's completely safe to assume that the next move, before you see any kind of consolidation, which who knows, maybe it lasts for a couple days, maybe it lasts for a couple of weeks. Who knows how long it's going to take, but the next time you see consolidation will be at new all-time highs. 135%, 134%, that would take you all the way up to about $736, $740, something like that. 145% would be at about $775, $780, something like that. And if we continue the trend, if this move gets stronger, right? This move here, it got stronger here. If this move gets stronger, maybe it's completely possible that we do move all the way up to that $900 target that we were talking about before seeing some kind of correction. Now, 10%, it's basically 10% increase there. So if we're running with that idea, maybe we do a 155% move, 155%, 811. Then we consolidate for a little bit, and then we make that move up to about $1,000 by the end of January, something like that, right? This is even actually appropriately timed. If you look at the dates down here, that is the end of January right there. If we make this move up here like this by the beginning of January, end of December, then we consolidate. We can see that, form some bearish divergence, top off there. I don't know. It's just an idea. But all I'm saying here is that I think we've made a base case at least for $736. And then also $780, and then also, you know, going at the same kind of percentage growth here, $811. And I hope that this also, this basic way of measuring, it's kind of like an easy way of doing TA. I mean, it is still TA, but this is very basic stuff. I hope that it illuminates that seeing that $900 target by the end of January is a lot more possible maybe than some people are leading on, right? And it's hard to say that when you're at your lows, right? Everybody, if I was over here saying we're going to go to $900 by the end of January, you'd be like, it's going to happen by Christmas. What are you talking about? You're too bearish. Down here, making that same call, it's a different kind of sentiment right now, isn't it? But I do expect that we're going to find support here. I do think that we're moving up higher. This whole consolidation phase here in MicroStrategy has been without volume. The whole move up has been with volume. That tells us what, right? Whether you're buying, whether you're selling, people are interacting with it when it's moving up. Nobody wants to touch this thing when it's moving down. So we're going to go to the next place that would make the most sense. And I think there are a lot of people that have their eyeballs on lower prices. I want to see real quick, MSTR. I want to go to that website we were using yesterday real quick. I just want to see, was there more shorts that were opened up in the last 24 hours? That's what I'm curious about. It looks like it a little bit, but no, I guess not. No. more calls, not puts. Actually, yeah, more calls got open, man. That's crazy. That's not too crazy. It's December 27th. That's expiration date. But the reason why that's crazy, you guys, if you think about it this way too, I'm going to end the video on this note. If you think about it, I'm not going to end the video. I'm going to go over the volume stuff for Mish. But if you think about it like this, just logically, we'll get rid of the bright screen. We can talk about it like this. I'll bring up my big face. How about that? If you think about it logically, I'm going to ask you a question. Do most people who invest, maybe not invest, let me change that. Do most people who trade, who leverage trade, who do options trading, who do day trading, swing trading, do most people who trade make money? Are most traders profitable? If you don't know, the answer should be obvious, but if you don't know, that's okay. The answer is no. Most people who trade do not make money. It's something like to the effect of 90% of people who actively trade lose money over time, and 10% of people who actively trade make money over time, right? And that's just the reality of it, right? Most people who actively trade, now most people who invest, most people can make money if they invest, but it's different if you invest versus like you buy and you hold something for a long term. Price can do whatever it wants, you don't care. Or if you invest quote unquote, and then the price takes a 20% drop and you sell out. That's not an investment. That was a hope and dreams, and then it shook you out a little bit and you got out at the wrong price, right? It's not the same thing. So I think everybody can make money with investing, but not everybody can make money trading. And there's a point that I'm making here, all right? If 90% of people don't make money trading, then that would imply, from that very logic, that 90% of people are wrong, which might also imply that if most people are bullish, we might go down, right? It's normally like sentiment. When everybody's bearish, we start to move up. When everybody's bullish, that's when we start to correct, right? That's just kind of the name of the game. So I hope that connects some dots there. I'm not worried about this having more call options open by the 27th. Sometimes you do have more longs and we still move up. Sometimes you do have more calls and we still move up. But maybe some of these will take profits opening up next week or something, right? They don't all have to hold until then. But I don't know. I don't know what everyone's personal plans are. It looks like the further out we go, the more bearish people get. So in the long term, I am expecting MSTR to obviously continue to grow. But absolutely, I believe that this next target of $994, was it, is still on the table. 994. That's the next target. Based on this fib overall, we're going to end it here, and then I'll do the volume thing for Mish. Whenever you break above the 1618, 539, that's your fib. The next fib target is 994. And I can't see you breaking above this anytime soon and not seeing that level by the end of this next move. It's almost inevitable at this point. You don't have to hit it. It's just a line. It's not a requirement. It's not a magnet. It's not some kind of physical thing. You could fall short of it into the black. You don't have to hit the purple. You could fall short into the black there. You could pass it. You don't have to stop there. But I do think you'll be in the proximity of $1,000 by the end of January. And this video has only certified that or validated those assumptions more, right? The minimum target would be something well above, like it's going to be above $700, right? And likely even above $800, right? That's pessimistic. $700 to $800. That's basically pessimism at its finest is double in price from here in about a month's time. You know what I mean? It's a very bullish chart. It looks very good. All right, Mish, let's do this volume thing for you, my man. And anybody else who wants to do this too, I should just do a video of all my settings and just go over it. But essentially, other than the earnings dates, I was like, what does E stand for again? Earnings. If you look at the volume here, you can do it one of two ways. You can click your arrow over here and you see volume. You can click on the settings here, or do what I do and what most people do who don't care to do all that. You just double click the volume. You double click it, it brings it up here. Okay, volume MA. You see I'm clicking it, the histogram's going away there. Volume MA. It's that simple. That's it. You just click that, make it whatever color you want. I made it this color, kind of skin color, so that it didn't like clash against, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't want that myself, so I did it like that. It's not white, because if I make it white, just look, right? And to each their own, but white, it's too bright to me. I feel like that color, it's almost orange-ish, but not too orange. I feel like that works the best. And then what I do, you can do it your own way, but I set my volume MA, the input. So this, you go to style, you click it, that turns it on or off. You want the input here, you can change it, right? If I click on this, if I make it 100, just watch how the histogram will jump to a different price, right? Or like it'll look different, right? It just moved a little bit, right? And then now it's back at 45. I like to have it at a 45, and I'll tell you why I like to have it at a 45. The reason why is because 45 on a daily period is like a month and a half. So if I'm looking at a day's period here, I've got the average volume for the last month and a half. I think that's nice. If you wanted in that sense to do a 30-day period, you could. It could be a 30 length. If you want to do a week period, 7 days, mess around with it. Figure out what seems the most significant to you. But to me, I think a month and a half's volume, any kind of significant move, you would expect to have more than the average volume that you've experienced over the last month and a half. That's my thoughts. At least the last month, at least the last 28 days, if not a month and a half. That's my thoughts. Then we go to 45 on a weekly basis. 45 weeks is not quite a year, but it's pretty damn close, right? It's about, what is that, like 10 weeks shy? It's about 2 months shy, not even 2 months shy, or about 2 months shy. It's about 2 months shy of a full year, so it's about 10 months, you know, chronologically, or from a time perspective, it's 10 months is somewhat significant, I suppose. And then, I don't know, 45 months, that's pretty close to 4 years in time as well. I don't know. It's close enough to all these things that have somewhat of a significant stamp themselves in a time frame. That's why I chose 45, but you can do whatever you want. This was not supposed to be why I chose 45. This was just supposed to be how to do it. So there you go. You got it. Oh, and I forgot to mention histogram, right? Line here, it makes it a line. That's probably what it's going to come out as for you. Histogram. That's what you want to do. Or if you don't want to do a histogram, you can do a step line. You could do an area. You could do a column. Whatever. I like the histogram personally, but it's all the same at the end of the day. The line is probably like the least headache, but I want it to be more visible than that. What I would really like actually, is if there was a way to get where I just don't see the volume at all if it's below the line. But to be fair, I guess that's exactly what the area would be. I don't know. And then here too, one last thing. I keep saying I'm done, but you can change the opacity right here. You can make it very transparent or not transparent at all, right? You can do that. You can make the lines super thick. You can make them super thin. I have them super thin, and I have the opacity set to like 70 to 80 so that even when I'm zoomed out, I can kind of see. And then if I zoom in, right, I can like see through it, but the histogram is still there present. So I hope that helps. I hope that works. Anybody and everybody looking at this, right? It's very simple stuff. It's just a moving average. It's the same thing as this moving average, but onto your volume instead of your price. So hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.